I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Well, I just got done doing a requested commentary for a film I'd never seen before. It's a new film. It's called Artemis Fowl. Movie's so damn bad, I had to change my shirt. Because you'll probably upload the same day, but you'll notice I have a different shirt. Let me just say first and foremost, thanks go out to Isaiah. Again, he requested a commentary and a review. And watching this film, Artemis Fowl, Fartimus Fowl, whatever the hell you want to call it. Fartimus. It definitely stinks like a fucking fart. And I don't even know the source material. But apparently if you know the source material, you would hate this film even more. But if anyone's ever interested in requesting any reviews or commentaries or any other type of videos, you'd either join my Patreon or send a request directly via my PayPal. The links are down below in the info box. If not, no worries. But if so, thank you. It had to either be directly to my PayPal or by joining my Patreon. But Artemis Fowl was supposed to be in theaters because of stuff going on. It went to digital. Found it online to watch. No, I don't have Disney Plus. I will never get that. I found another way to watch it. And this is directed by Kenneth Branagh, which is easily the worst film I've seen him direct. Because I like Thor. He directed Thor. I think he did Murder on the Orient Express. No. Did he direct that? I know he starred in it. I didn't mind that film. But this, I sincerely want to ask anyone who knows the source material, what is the plot? And what is the difference? Because there has to be a difference. Because this movie is such a big fucking pile of nothing that I just, even at the end of my commentary, I just sat there and I went, this was a waste of money. Whoever, Disney, that's the first, you know, you're in trouble when Disney's at the beginning of the film. Because Disney used to make movies that were good and worth a shit. Nowadays, no. Now Disney's the devil. Let's be honest. Disney, I mean, Mickey Mouse out there with a pitchfork shoved up Donald Duck's ass while he's singing Kumbaya fucking ah. And looked at Minnie Mouse's fucking panties. And her head is up Goofy's ass. Because she thinks that's what a rim job is. The dummy bitch. The silly bitch. The silly bitches. That's what Disney is. The silly bitches now. And what's the plot of this film? The plot? Plot? Josh Gad, the annoying fucking person, at least that's how I viewed him in Pixels. He was annoying as hell. He does these reunions on YouTube, like he did one on Ghostbusters, and he's an awful host to the point that, oh, could you say that line? That line I love? Can you say the line? Can you say the line? It's like, can we get someone else other than Josh Gad to do this shit? I don't care for him as an actor. He does this beginning and ending where he's talking to the camera, but he's being interviewed in a prison that looks like leftovers from fucking Waterworld, and Josh Gad is doing the Christian Bale Adrian Brody from Predators, Christian Bale as Batman. He started like this because he's a dwarf. Now he's a dwarf. He's a giant dwarf. Just that's part of the joke. And he started like this. Like, get some fucking Bianca. Get some, get some of that shit. And there's more goddamn narration here than the theatrical cut of Blade Runner. And this, so much exposition. We just shove this information into it. Where Artemis Fowl is this kid, and he's a brilliant kid. But whether he was directed to act this way, or is just the actor himself, this kid sucks. He's wooden, he's stiff. I mean, goddamn wallpaper has more personality than this kid. I'm like, why the fuck do I want to watch this kid in any future adventures? He's boring as hell. Well, you know what? That actually fits. That was on purpose. I was going to say boring as hell, but he's as boring as a hill. You watch a fucking hill, it's not doing anything. Just standing there being a fucking hill. But you know what? That'd be more exciting, because at least a hill maybe grow some fucking flowers or some fucking pot. The fucking Mary Jane marijuana. At least it could maybe get some excitement. Not this fucking kid. His father's played by Colin Farrell, who is kidnapped. Most of his screen time is just chained up. You have this villain that is mysterious. I guess it's mysterious because they think they were going to make more movies. I'm not holding my breath on that. And she's talking. I mentioned this in the commentary. You remember Return of the Jedi when Leia, at the beginning of the film, in Jabba's palace, was in disguise of that outfit with that weird mask and that type of voice before they got Han Solo out of being frozen? That's what this villain sounds like. You never see the face. And might as well be fucking female Dr. Claw. And by the end, you never get a reveal. It just leaves room for sequels. So, what does she want? She tells about she wants revenge, and she wants the fairies to get the rightful place on Earth and rule the world, and she also wants this device thing, or whatever the hell she wants. So, Artemis Fowl makes this plan. He's got a butler who's got the eyes like Meg Foster from They Live, those type of eyes. There's this niece that literally does jack shit of nothing. She did not even need to be in the fucking film. What was the point of the butler's niece? It felt like she was barely in it. Like, why was she even there? She did really nothing. Nothing in this movie. So why the fuck she was there? I have no idea. Then his plan is to capture a fairy, and before that, one of our main characters, which she almost gets more screen time than the lead character, Artemis Fowl. This lady fairy who wants to look into her father's death or disappearance, and her death. She didn't get much answers by the end of it. You have a scene where her character's battling this troll at this party that's outside, and they do a time bomb thing, so you gotta have the people are frozen. You know what? I'd rather watch Sonic the Hedgehog or various other movies. Hell, I watched Trancers when Jack Death had his fucking watch and froze time. I'd rather watch Trancers than those. Any of the Trancers films, even the fucking bad ones. Well, maybe not Trancers 6. Maybe not Trancers 6, but still. 1 through 5, rather watch them than this. But not much. I didn't know much about this movie. I read a little bit about it. I might have seen the trailer long ago. I didn't remember much about it. But the little bit I read that this kid was a criminal mastermind, and I assumed it'd be something that take place all over the world, and I didn't know it had anything to do with fantasy, fairies, goblins, trolls, dwarfs. Never knew any of that. Most of the film takes place in one fucking location where Artemis and his butler tranquilize the fairy. They bring her in, put her in jail. Judi Dench is the commander of the fairies, and she's also talking like Josh Gad is in this movie. They're both talking like this. I'm like, why the fuck do you have Judi Dench talking like Adrian Brody in Predators? Like Christian Bale in Batman? They even tried to make a joke where Josh Gad says, we both sound like hippos who have something with our throats. I forget what the hell he said. This movie tries to be funny. It's not funny. This movie tries to be wondrous. The effects were not that impressive. It tries to have some action. The action is boring and forgettable, just like this entire movie. So they have that lead fairy in Artemis Fowl's jail in his big old house mansion by this fucking sea. All the fairies go in. I guess the fairies, they're too nice, so I'm thinking, why don't they just knock these two fucking people down? You have fairies with all their technology. There's a little kid and a butler. Just knock them down. Throw a fucking bomb that knocks them out. Something. Hell, now that I think about it, they threw this time stop thing. I guess to stop the sea from going into, because there was a storm going on. So here's my question. They have these time things where they stop, and we saw them freeze guests at a party. Why didn't the fairies do that to these two people? These two people are out here shooting all these fairies, knocking them down, not killing them. Why didn't someone just take one of these time things, throw it at him, and freeze Artemis Fowl and his butler? Why didn't they do that? Can someone answer me that? Why didn't they do that? Freeze! May we blink? Just, why didn't they do that? Some convoluted rule bullshit. I don't know why. Because there would not be a movie. That's why. So Artemis Fowl, I'll just jump ahead, way ahead, because not much happens. Just, his plan was to kidnap this fairy, so a bunch of these fairies get in, and then he talks to Judi Dench. Then he pretty much tells Judi Dench, you can't barge in, otherwise blah 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 will happen, and also I will let people know about you. I'm like, just knock these two fucking people out. You're fairies with high tech, more high tech technology than what Artemis fucking Fowl has. Just knock him out. He's also a little kid. Just punch him in the face and knock him out. But what do I know? So then what happens is, well, we're going to get this dwarf, which is Josh Gad, and he does this thing where he opens his mouth real big. He eats the dirt, and dirt shoots out of his ass. So he's a gopher if a gopher actually eats the dirt and the dirt shoots out of his ass. That's what dwarves are, apparently, in this universe. And we literally see dirt shooting out of his ass. And I went, wonder if that was in the source material. Then Artemis' plan was he wanted to make it so that a dwarf would come in there and open up the safe. But I'm thinking, number one, how do you know the dwarf would go to the safe? Why would he not bypass the safe if his fucking plan was to get the girl, the fairy, out of her jail cell? So Artemis, what would you have done if he just went past it? No, instead he opens up the safe. Hell, why didn't you find the fucking safe and try to open it yourself? It's like the kid didn't even know there was a fucking safe. Because the butler, he found what looks like a safe. Yo, yeah, don't do anything to him. So what kind of fucking plan do you have if you don't... It's like you don't even know what's going on half the time. If you knew there was a safe, you would think, is he so goddamn smart, he would have fucking tried to open it himself, but no. That never happens. So Josh Gad opens it with his fucking beard. Yes. And then this is this big treasure of the fairies that they're like, ooh, ah, about. Then one of the asshole fairies tells Judi Dench to step down, and they put a fucking big-ass troll. Bad over-the-top CGI, becomes a CGI orgasm smorgasbord. We're just going around wrecking the house. You think the butler's going to die, but then the fairies have magic powers, so they just heal the guy from near death. So apparently death is not a thing in this movie. If these fairies literally have the powers to bring people who are this close to death back again. So, wow, that takes a lot of fucking suspense or danger out of the equation. And then all that happens is gets the thing, gives it to the fairy. The fairy says to chanting, "You're chanting, Ray, you're chanting. I want to kill everyone. Satan is good. Satan's our pal." I mean, that ain't the chant she does. Should have been. She does a chant, and then Colin Farrell is transported from his chains back to the house. That's your big fucking finale. That's how they get Colin Farrell back. That fucking easily. I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe that's not really Colin Farrell. This is some trick. Well, no, that's not the case, because the bad guy's right there. Well, okay, there must be something else. Or, oh, now the bad guy's going to come and try to attack him in this house. Or, no, that's it. The last 10 minutes of the movie is just setting up shit where Colin Farrell and talking to his kid, even though I thought Colin Farrell, they said his character was on the news when they said that he was missing. They also said he had done all these criminal things, but it seems like that doesn't get brought back again. At least not really to anything that monumental. Oh, people clapping in Fairy World because the fairy did her job. Judi Dench gives her props. Josh Gad, he's in this prison because blah blah blah. Artemis Fowl wanted him there, and then had a tracking device and gets him out there via helicopter away from fucking Waterworld. And then Artemis phone calls the bad guy and warns her, "We're coming for you, bitch." He doesn't say that, but I wish he did, because at least it'd be some fucking feeling. I hate this goddamn movie. I hated this goddamn movie. This movie was such a nothing film. Nothing film. Nothing with imagination. Nothing much with inventiveness. If I want to see a movie with a modern take on fairies and all sorts of that stuff, I'll watch Bright with Will Smith and Joe Edgerton, which was much more fun, much more interesting, much more entertaining, much faster paced, much more action-packed. And I'm thinking, you know what? All this fucking money wasted could have gone to a sequel to Bright, or the various other scripts that don't get made. But this pile of fucking nothing was made. Nothing. That's why I can't really go over the top mad, because what am I... this is barely a fucking movie. I mean, this is barely a fucking movie. This is barely a fucking thing. This is barely... I want to itch my nose. Talk about this fucking film. There's really not much to say about this film. This movie's so fucking nothing. It's such a pile of nothing. Sorry, I'm petting this dog. I'd rather do that than talk about this movie. It's such a big pile of fucking nothing. It's ridiculous. I don't know what else to say. This movie is boring. It's dull. That you don't get to know much about the characters. The lead actor, the kid is wooden as hell. Josh Gad is annoying as hell. His narration was not needed. There's so much fucking exposition. It got irritating. Josh Gad's trying to be Christian Bale voice was awful. Same when Judi Dench was doing it. Barely any action scenes. The ones that are there are very, very forgettable. There's not much of a scope with this film. And please someone tell me what the hell Artemis Fowl the source material is. Oh, he's supposed to be this big criminal mastermind. You didn't really get that with this movie. I didn't see no goddamn criminal mastermind. Kevin McColl from Home Alone is more of a fucking criminal mastermind than this kid. But that's just my opinion. So either way, fuck this movie. I doubt they'll make sequels, but don't make sequels. This should not have been made. Kenneth Branagh, what the fuck were you thinking with this movie? Please explain. See you guys later. Bye-bye.